Hey everybody, it's Matt Mayoko at NBC Sports Bay Area, checking in early Wednesday morning before I head down to Santa Clara as the 49ers start their preparations to face the Green Bay Packers. At least they start their on-field preparations to face the Green Bay Packers. But I just wanted to post something early here in the morning as the Pro Football Hall of Fame announced 25 semifinalists for the class of 2025. And we're going to break it down from a 49ers angle, of course. But first, this video is brought to you by Canyon Club Brewery. It's located in Moraga in the East Bay, very close to where I live. It's one of my go-to spots. I go there quite frequently. And if I have time enough after I get off of work on Wednesday, I will probably be there before St. Mary's plays it's not an exhibition game, but it's really a game that doesn't count at all as far as the net rankings and all that. They face Stanislaus State, so a Division II school, but I'm still going to the game. I go to all the St. Mary's basketball games whenever I'm around, and I have the time to get there when I'm not on a 49ers road trip. But anyway, Canyon Club is also the official beer supplier of St. Mary's basketball. So if I don't make it to Canyon Club before the game Wednesday night, I will definitely be drinking a Canyon Club beer or two at the basketball game. So Canyon Club Brewery, check it out. Great family-friendly atmosphere, good menu of beer and food, and also coming soon to the Livery in Danville. Okay, so I am, full disclosure, I am a voter for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I selected 25 finalists or semifinalists, as did all of the 49 voters on the selection committee. And the first thing I did when I saw who made it to the final 25, the 25 semifinalists, the first thing I did was I went down and checked the S names. It was listed in alphabetical order, and disappointed to see that Joe Staley is not among the 25 semifinalists in his first year of eligibility. And I knew it wasn't a sure thing, but I was hoping he would get through. It's a strong class of first-time eligible players. First time to be eligible for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, a player must be out of the game for 5 years. And Joe Staley, the last game he played was in the Super Bowl, and that was in February of 2020. So the last season he played was the 2019 season. And so here we are 5 years later, Staley not among the final 25. And, as far as his credentials, a 6-time Pro Bowl selection in his 13 years, all with the 49ers. And he was selected to the NFL All-Decade Team for the 2010s. I don't even know if is that the right term, the 2010s, the 20 teens, whatever, but you know what I'm talking about. So Staley didn't make it. A couple of former 49ers who did make it to this round would be Ricky Watters, a running back whose first 3 seasons were with the 49ers and won a Super Bowl. In fact, he was a key member of that final 49ers Super Bowl team, or at least the last time the 49ers won a Super Bowl. And then Anquan Boldin also, he is in the top 25, one of a few wide receivers, but Boldin played 3 seasons with the 49ers, had a couple of 1,000-yard seasons with the team. And so in those 3 years, now, remember, we kind of at the end of his career, started his career with Arizona, was awesome there, played a few seasons with the Baltimore Ravens. And so in 3 seasons with the 49ers, he caught 237 passes for 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns. He was a 3-time Pro Bowl player during his NFL career. As far as Ricky Watters, he played with the Eagles after the 49ers, and all in all, he went to 5 Pro Bowls. So here's the list of the first-time eligible players who got into the final 25 over Staley. Eli Manning. We'll see how I end up voting on this, but Eli Manning, it's certainly a name that pops out among the final 25. So Eli Manning, Marshall Yanda, who's the guard for the Ravens and made a lot of All-Pros and Pro Bowls, edge rusher Terrell Suggs, linebacker Luke Kuechly, safety Earl Thomas, and kicker Adam Vinatieri. So that's six guys: Manning, Yonda, Suggs, Kuechly, Thomas, and Vinatieri. Six guys, first-time eligible players who make it to the final 25. So again, in full disclosure, we don't, in fact, the NFL or the Pro Football Hall of Fame doesn't announce how individuals vote because they want it to be a process where there's no peer pressure, or people don't feel obligated to vote for the players that they've covered. So they believe that it's more fair if and more it just causes fewer problems if they don't reveal how the individuals vote. But I will tell you that 23 of the 25 players that are on the finalist list are players that I voted for. And so I'm not going to tell you who I didn't vote for, but I will tell you that I did vote for Joe Staley among the final 25. And I also voted for Marshawn Lynch among the final 25. And neither one of those players made it to the final 25. So here's the list. Fifth time as a finalist for Eric Allen, the cornerback with the Eagles and Saints and Raiders. Five-time semifinalist for Jared Allen, the edge rusher and one of the all-time leaders in sacks. Five-time semifinalist for Willie Anderson, the former Bengals offensive tackle. This is the fourth time as a semifinalist for Anquan Boldin. Jari Evans, a guard from best known for his time with the Saints, third time as a finalist. Antonio Gates was first time eligible last year. He didn't make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last year, but he would have to be a guy who would be considered a favorite. This is his second time as a semifinalist. James Harrison, this is his third time as a semifinalist. His career ended in 2017. Rodney Harrison, his fourth time as a semifinalist, the safety formerly of the Chargers and the New England Patriots. Torrey Holt has been a finalist for a while and a semifinalist for 11 years. Luke Kuechly, I mentioned, first time eligible. Eli Manning, first time eligible. Robert Mathis, edge rusher, formerly of the Colts. This is his fourth time as a semifinalist. Steve Smith Sr., wide receiver, Panthers, Ravens, his fourth time as a semifinalist. Suggs, this is his first time, as I mentioned, first year eligible. Fred Taylor, the running back from the Jags, sixth time as a semifinalist. Earl Thomas, first time eligible. Vinatieri, first time eligible. Hines Ward, the wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is his ninth year as a semifinalist. Ricky Watters, fifth year as a semifinalist. Reggie Wayne, sixth time as a finalist. Richmond Webb, now he's been out of the game for a long time, offensive tackle for the Dolphins. His career ended in 2002 as a member of the Bengals. This is his first time as a semifinalist. Vince Wilfork, this is his fourth time as a semifinalist. Steve Wisniewski, second time as a semifinalist. Darren Woodson, his ninth time as a semifinalist. And then I mentioned Marshall Yanda. So just to kind of break it down, this reduction process goes on after the Hall of Fame has inducted that ceremony, and obviously Patrick Willis was part of the induction ceremony this last summer in Canton, and similar reduction votes are taking place among the seniors committee. Those are players who've been out of the game for 25 years or more. Also, the coaches and contributors. So ultimately, there will be 20 individuals who will be considered finalists. So 15 of these modern era guys that I've just been talking about. There will be three seniors players. Roger Craig is in that seniors pool. And then coaches, one coach, one contributor. And so it's just going to be a little bit different this year because it's a higher standard to clear as far as making it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There were some changes to the bylaws this year. And basically, as I understand it, when we meet before the Super Bowl to discuss the all the individuals, you'll only like we'll only be voting for three of the five seniors, coach, contributor. And then everybody will only vote for three of those five. And then only those with an 80% rate of being mentioned on ballots will be Hall of Famers. And the same goes a different kind of process for the modern era guys too. In the past, it was almost always five modern era individuals got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This year, as I understand it, we will vote on the final seven. So there will be a reduction, first to 15 and then to 10 once we get into that meeting, 1 to 10 and then to 7, and then vote for five of the seven. So if there are no clear-cut individuals, then that's going to limit the number of people who will get in. But the final class, when it's announced at the NFL Honors in New Orleans before the Super Bowl, the final class will consist of anywhere from 4 new members to 8 new members. So, among the coaches, like George Seifert, Mike Holmgren, Mike Shanahan, those are the coaches who remain in contention. I can't recall if there's any, and I don't vote for the coaches, contributors, or seniors until it gets to that final part. Those are all held by different committees among the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee. But once it gets to the 20 finalists, that's where I'll get involved with the entire group, but I will have a vote moving the modern era semifinalists from 25 to 15. Hope I explained that well, but that's kind of the takeaway here. As like I said, I voted some time ago, a couple weeks ago, for the modern era guys, and Joe Staley did not make it, and I'm sure that's a disappointment to a lot of 49ers fans. And then I believe is it next year, class of 2026, is when Frank Gore becomes eligible for the first time. So we'll see where this takes us in the future. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions about the Hall of Fame process, comment, ask the questions in the comments section. A lot of you might be wondering, top question I always get is, why isn't Roger Craig in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? The first individual to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving in the same season. I don't know the answer to that. I can't tell you. My guess is just the bulk numbers, the numbers of, not being a top 10 or top 15 rusher in NFL history. That maybe has something to do with it. All I know is, before he passed away, Bill Walsh would always tell me that he wasn't able to do all the things he wanted to do offensively with the 49ers until he got a player like Roger Craig, a guy who started off as a fullback, made the Pro Bowl as a fullback, then he became the halfback, and he became one of the best pass catchers out of the backfield and route runners in NFL history as far as a running back. And this was a guy that didn't catch very many passes during his career at Nebraska. So, I don't know if this is going to be Roger Craig's year or not. I'm not overly optimistic, but we will see. I hope it is, but up to this point, he's been snubbed time and time again. So anyway, that's the roundup. That's where the 49ers are as far as the offseason, looking ahead to the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025. So once again, thank you for watching this video, and I'll be back later in the day, probably with another video that kind of brings you up to date on what's happening with the 49ers from an injury situation. Of course, the people to keep an eye on this day would be Brock Purdy's shoulder, his right shoulder, which was banged up and sore after the game on Sunday against Seattle. Nick Bosa, where it just kind of seems like there's a very strong possibility he won't be able to play in this game. I do fully expect George Kittle to be available to play against the Green Bay Packers. And then Trent Williams, who was very sore with the ankle, and Shanahan said it got shot up in order for him to play against Seattle. So keep an eye on that to see if he'll be able to play as well. And then Dre Greenlaw, the anticipation, or the 49ers don't anticipate opening the practice window for him this week, but potentially next week. So there it is, as far as the Hall of Fame roundup and just kind of a brief overview on what the 49ers can expect at practice on Wednesday. And that is it for now.